Action Bronson and New Balance have done it again. If you're clicking on this video to see whether or not you should buy this shoe, the short answer is yes. But if you still need more convincing, then I got you covered on that too. Because if you watch the channel, then you already know I'm a huge Bronson fan. My top row stays reserved for Bronson projects specifically, and this one might be the best one yet. When I first saw the makeup of this model and saw that crazy midsole, I already knew this was going to be an insanely comfortable sneaker and was an instant cop. And these did not disappoint. So with all that being said, let's get into it because today we're talking about the Action Bronson 1890 in the Cyborg Tears colorway. Now, first and foremost, I want to make a disclaimer about this sneaker because everybody has been saying that this is a brand new silhouette from New Balance and it's Bronson's own signature sneaker, but this upper is actually from the 890 V3. The entire chemical makeup of everything about this upper, from all these infused overlays to the heel makeup and the way that those panels are shaped, that is all straight up borrowed from the 890 V3. And now I'm not hating on that because that shoe's dope as well. And then they reworked it with this midsole, which I'm pretty sure is from a different New Balance in their archive. If somebody knows, let me know down in the comments what that is. But as we get into it, I just want to lay that out there that this is more like a Frankenstein kind of hybrid of previous models. Starting with the packaging, you get that same kind of cardboard bottom to the box that you saw on the previous release of the Amazonias and on the Untitles. But this time the main differences come in the box lid. On the previous release, you had that dual tone blue with the baklava branding and that digitized font. This time you get a black lid with silver branding in that same font. And differing from the last release where you had that dual tone blue on the tissue paper with the baklava branding in a different font, this time you get it in that same digitized font in black on a Volt green colored paper. And lastly, on this new release, you don't get that kind of satin backing that was on the inside of the top of the lid. This time you can just see that pressed in writing. Getting into the toe box, on both the lateral and medial side, you have this huge sweeping infused overlay that comes in this muted blue, and then all the accents to that are in this chrome color. And at the bottom of each one of these kind of teardrop areas, which is where I'm sure he kind of got the idea for the name Cyborg Tears, you have these raised panels that are actually more of a metallic metal kind of feel to them, and they're actually raised off of the shoe in all of those areas. The mesh underlayment on this version is like a perforated textile material that goes throughout the entire upper until you get to the heel, and even under that infused panel of the toe box in the light, you can see those perforations coming from underneath. Moving towards the midfoot of the shoe, you get a dual tone N logo that has an indentation through the center of it, and it comes in like this toothpaste kind of teal with a little bit of a darker teal outline that lays on top of this more rigid and textured infused overlay that's in like a darker navy color. And then right above that, at the top of the eye stay, you have this chrome panel that has like a two-tone with a little bit of trim on it, and that area is actually 3M. And the interesting thing about the laces on these is if you see those lace holes there, they're kind of rectangular shaped, and the actual lace tips on this sneaker are pressed into that same rectangular shape to fit into those holes, which caught me off guard when I was trying to put these on because that shape will not go through that hole unless you're paying attention to it. Then on the heel, you have this two-toned overlay panel that actually encapsulates these three different sections of a different type of mesh. But if you notice on the edges of this panel where it goes from gray to black, the cool part about that to me is that is all just one continuous panel. Like, it's not something overlaid, and also both hits of that gray on here are 3M as well. Then at the back of the heel, you get two more hits of 3M, one in the center with the New Balance logo and then one just above that, and then you can see that heel collar mesh kind of curling over the top of that area. On the medial side, you get a slight difference in that more dark blue textured panel that's closer to the top of the eye stay, and just a continuation of those 3M sections that are on that back portion of the heel. The tongue comes in like a purple two-tone diamond mesh, and at the top you get a semi-translucent tag with the baklava New Balance 1890 branding, and that 1890 is in like an infrared color that plays into the rest of the hits of the shoe. And just like the back of the heel, at the top of the tongue you can see that interior mesh kind of curling up over the top. I do really like that aesthetic. And then of course you get the patented Bronson boot style laces, and this time it comes in like a pale pink with a gray stripe. The back of the tongue and heel collar mesh is in this much more jersey style mesh, but it has a really nice amount of cushioning, especially in the heel, and feels good on foot. And then the insole is just your classic calling card Bronson insole with that black on that Volt green co-branding. But getting into the midsole, this part is super sick. At the back heel corner, you have the Absorb branding, and then below that you have these infrared pods that go end to end on this entire shoe on the medial and lateral sides, which is broken up with a nice triple stack with that dark gray at the top and then that light gray just before the outsole. And a small detail even on that light gray section, you get this really cool pattern design to it with some indentations as well, especially towards towards the heel. Then on the outsole, you get this really meaty traction pattern in black, and the motion lines from that take you to the heel where you get all these striped infrared hits, which in hand are actually even brighter than the hits you see on the midsole. Then at the center of that, you have the stability web that has this dark navy outline, and then these exposed areas on both the lateral and medial side. It's definitely a cool execution of it to have some of that be see-through, and then you get those chrome accents that go through those areas. And as far as on foot, these are super dope. If you're already into mesh runners to begin with, this is the perfect kind of Y2K vibe. I think reviving this with the 890 V3 upper and then putting Bronson's signature touches to it couldn't have gone over any better. And he always has a really good eye for picking colorways and weird color combinations that have an end result that just somehow works every time. I think the uses of all these different blues and then this crazy infrared midsole just goes super hard, and all of these 3M hits are like perfectly placed, and those chrome teardrops that you get at the bottom of this layout just look super sick, and of course that chrome trim just sets these off. As far as sizing goes, I'm a size 12 wide and flat footer, and usually I would just say true to size, and sometimes I even tell people to size up, but with these I feel like there is a little bit of extra room in the toe box. So if you like a snug fit, or that's just kind of usually your vibe, I would say that you're actually probably safe to go down a half a size in these, especially with this upper, because it is so flexible and forgiving that you're still going to have ample room in here. I would even possibly consider going down half a size, but I just prefer to have a little bit more room in my shoes. But as far as on foot feel, all I can tell you is once you take these out of the box and put these on foot, you are going to notice the comfort. With this crazy potting setup that they put on this midsole, you get so much crazy cushioning throughout the shoe. Like, you're not having any point where you're stepping where you're really not feeling a nice rebound of this material. And these shoes are crazy light and really flexible because it is a completely infused upper, so you're not getting any kind of resistance to your natural movement on foot. And something about the way this midfoot web is shaped versus like your normal midfoot shank, where it's a lot more prevalent on the medial side, this one is way more easily shown on the lateral, but then it tapers back on the medial side so far back towards the heel, and it kind of creates like this weird Z shape. But this might be my favorite midfoot shank ever because I feel a lot of good support from it, but I don't feel any awkward digging in on my foot on any side. With this being so encompassing of that area, you would think you would notice a little bit of uncomfortability, but honestly there's zero on these. And Bronson has just recently released that the other colorway of this I think is coming out this week, Thursday, Friday, something like that. But something to keep in mind about that version versus this version is that other version has actual sewn in overlays, so it's not an infused thing. So the feel that you're going to get from this version, I wouldn't necessarily just take that and run with it and think it's going to be the same on the other ones. Because those are sewn in overlays, it might create a very different feeling on foot, at least in the toe box area. I'm going to try and get my hands on those as well for sure, and then we can compare and contrast, and I'll let you guys know. But that's going to wrap up my review on the Bronson 1890 Cyborg Tiers. I think they knocked it out of the park with this one. I'm super happy with this, from the comfort to the breathability to how light this shoe is. Not to mention Bronson's just my boy, and he always comes with the fire colorways. I think this is a dope version, and even if we see some GRs of this in the future, I ain't mad at it, and I'll probably be copping. But thanks for watching, guys, and if you wouldn't mind liking, commenting, or subscribing, that stuff is always appreciated. I'm really happy to see all the love that this channel has been getting lately, and I hope that it keeps going. But I'm gonna get out of here, so until next time, just remember, life's short, so buy the shoes.